Hey everyone, gonna do a video with you guys tonight on a pair of knipex that I purchased just recently. As you can see in front of me, I have a set of channel locks. I've had these for years. As you can see, these are Blue Point, made in the USA. I can't really read the part number on there. It looks like an L120P. I don't know the length on these. These are probably 20 inches or something like that. I've had these for years. These things are knuckle busters. Great set of pliers. A lot of times what I use these for is gas caps, plastic, fuel pump, retainer rings, and miscellaneous stuff like that. Miscellaneous pipe connections, and a lot of different things that I use these for. One of the common things, the bolt comes loose on these. If you slip with them, they tend to smash your fingers in between them. And it's hard to really get a bite on anything. They want to spread apart, the more leverage you want to put on them. So knipex came out with a set of pliers that are XXL series, so I wanted to go ahead and give those a try. And as much things I do at the shop, as far as like some of the we do a bunch of L tanks, fuel tanks. We add them on the trucks and stuff like that, and we do a lot of repairs on them and so forth, and miscellaneous stuff like that, pipe fittings, and who knows what else they get into that I need a good set of pliers. And these guys right here, they bite onto something, they just don't let go. If anybody knows the reputation of the Cobra pliers, plus the twin beam in the back here, these pliers don't slip, they don't bust your knuckles, you don't get slammed in between or pitch your fingers. They always seem to have a nice gap in between them. And these guys open up extremely wide. These have a larger jaw on them than the regular Cobras. I think the biggest pair that you could get the particular time that I bought them was 16 inches, I believe, and these are 22. So I'm very impressed with these pliers. The other pair that I'll probably buy, I think they're 16 inches as well, because this is an 8701 560, and I believe the other set is 8701 400, and 400 millimeters I believe is 16 millimeters. The only difference between those and the old Cobra design is this jaw design right here. So, and it's a little longer head. So like I said, I'm gonna put these to use and see how I like them. I think I'm going to be very, very impressed with them, because it's going to be very universal. Like I said, I can use them on pipe fittings, I can use them on regular gas tank, retainer rings and other miscellaneous things like that, because they open so wide. Like I said, you see how far that opens right there, and you can see how far that these guys open right here. So it's nice to actually have a pair of pliers. Like I said, when you're biting on something, you have fingers in here, they want to pinch your fingers. These are all the way open, and you can see that I can still get my fingers in between there. So I'm not going to smash my hands in with these, if they slip or whatever. So like I said, very impressed with these pliers. I haven't got a chance to use them, but I'm going to take them to work and I'm going to put them to use. Like I said, I wanted to share them with you guys before I did. And I have a few more things I want to share. For some of you guys that actually watch my channel, this is a Astro low profile ball joint separator. I do have one of these already. I did do a short review on it. I actually liked it so much, I actually bought this one. And the reason why I bought this one, even though I bought a Chinese one, is because this forcing screw was so loose on the other one, and it was angled. It was actually angled out this way. Works great. I haven't had any issue with it. I make sure that I use plenty of grease on the threads. But when I go tighten something down, it wants to force out at an angle. It wants to push in this direction like this, instead of straight on like this one. So that was the reason I went ahead and bought the Astro one. I wanted a better quality one that I don't have to mess around with. And like I said, when I bought that, I think I paid like $20 for it, but there's a couple other tools that came with it to pull the control arm down and so forth. I was missing that tool. I went ahead and bought it. But now that I know that this works, and it works extremely well, especially on aluminum control arms and stuff like that, I went ahead and bought a good one. I'm going to move on to the next item and show you what else that I bought. This is another one of those items. If you watch my videos, you'll know that I've done a review on one of these. I bought an 8-inch. This is a 9029T. I had the 9031T, I believe, or 9030T. Can't remember one of those numbers. But this is a 9029T. This is a 6-inch one. I had the 8-inch one, and I believe the one that I purchased actually works backwards. So it may be an assembly issue. I bought this one, and I'm going to compare it to the one that works and see if it turns backwards like this one. So, but you can see the jaws are extremely thin on this. Works on caliper brackets and other miscellaneous stuff, exhaust bolts that you're trying to get, loose, that you can't get anything behind. But this is nice to have, especially when you're putting on hose fittings and you run out of threads in between it and it starts to pinch your wrench and your wrench is too wide. This works great for that as well. This is the same exact design that Snap-on uses. This is a Baco wrench. So Snap-on actually is an affiliate. They own a good share of the company, and so that's where their wrenches come from. They're a little more refined. I noticed the edges are a lot more sharper on these where they're machined and stuff. So they don't put as much quality control into these as they do the Snap-on ones. But this is actually a very excellent wrench. I have bought probably 6 of these now, and I really like the wide mouth ones because I can take one wrench over to a job and it fits anything from all the way down to 3/8 bolt all the way up to 2 inches. So they open extremely wide. It's just phenomenal how well that they work. And for a 12-inch wrench, this one right here is obviously an 8-inch wrench. It opens up to 32 millimeters. So I don't know if you guys can see that. So very, very nice wrench. Like I said, it makes putting fittings on and other stuff like that when your wrenches are too thick. It makes that job extremely easy. Let's move on to the next item. Another thing I bought right here was some knipex hog ring pliers. Did some interior work, and we have a cheap set at the shop I absolutely hate. So I went out and bought my own. These are spring loaded, so when you pull them apart, it holds the ring inside of it. And then you put it up in wherever you want to go, and you close it, and it actually makes that circle. So very nice set of pliers. The part number on these is 91 92 180 for anybody that's interested. But like I said, I need a good set of hog ring pliers. I got tired of messing with the ones at the shop that are older than dirt, probably Chinese made. Probably came with some kind of kit they bought. So I decided just to buy my own and not fight with a pair of crappy pliers. So like I said, number on these is right here, is 91 92 180, and that is hog ring pliers for interior. This right here, I don't really have a part number on it or anything. This is made for removing button clips. As you can see, it has 2 little points here that go in the slots of those Honda plastic clips. When you push it down, it grabs it, and then it pushes it off. I figured I'd give these a try. These were on promotion through Prime for like $5. Next day shipping. So I figured I'd give them a try. I know they're not going to work on all the button style plastic clips, but I figured I'd give them a try. I fight with a lot of the Honda ones, especially when I'm taking down shields and stuff like that. So I figure it's not going to hurt for $5 to give them a try and see if I like them or not. So far the reviews on them have been pretty good. And like I said, the only bad thing I've heard in the reviews is they don't work on all button clips. Mainly they work on the ones with the 2 slots in it. But I thought I'd share it with you guys, and if you want to look them up and purchase a pair, you can. Like I said, they cost me $5, and I'm sure that they'll be running some kind of promotion, for Columbus Day or something like that. So you can check them out and see, what they have and if they'll work for you. I got one more here that I'll share with you, and it is more knipex pliers. These are smooth jaw pliers, and the reason why I bought these, I have one pair that are snap-on. I absolutely love them. They wanted a crazy amount of money for one pair from Snap-on, and for what they wanted from Snap-on, I bought 3 pair through Knipex, and Knipex is who makes them. So what I use these for is the same thing that I would use that skinny little adjustable wrench on, is when I'm assembling hoses and miscellaneous things. A lot of times my wrench gets jammed in between. After I tighten down the fitting on it, gets jammed in between there. So these have an extremely thin jaw on it that you can actually get in there and tighten those. They do not leave marks on anything. They are adjustable, so you can open them in and out and adjust it to the size that you need. They actually have marks on here, I believe, for sizing of some kind. I haven't read it to see what that actually represents right there, but obviously you can see that there's a numerical number here that you can set these to. Most of the time you're probably going to go by feel, but that's why I bought them, was actually to assemble hydraulic fittings and miscellaneous things like that, because these adjust very simple. They do not leave marks. You can put an extreme amount of leverage on it, just like the Cobra ones. And like I said, they don't leave marks. So, and when you get done tightening it down, you don't have to worry about trying to get your wrench out, or your wrench getting jammed in between the hose and your fitting. So let's see if we can find a number on here. This is a 3-piece set. And the number on this is, looks like 002006 US2. So I believe I paid right around $120 for the set on Amazon. So like I said, I bought those because this particular set right here is what I have, and this one set of pliers from Snap-on pretty much paid for all of these, so it didn't make sense to actually get from the Snap-on man. I do like the Snap-on ones. They're a little bit slimmer in profile. They are the older design, so there is a little bit difference in them, but I think these are going to work just as fine. I like having a smaller set as well for different other mechanical things, because I use these for a wide variety of things. Even when I do trailer cables, the little aluminum fittings that you put on there for the stainless wire, I use these to crimp them instead of the crimper that they actually specify for it. These work great for that. You can put an extreme amount of leverage on them, and you can crush them even tighter or flatter than what the actual tool does. So these come in handy for a number of things. A lot of people don't think that they do, but like I said, when you get a set of pliers that work good as Cobras and they do not leave marks on things, they're priceless, especially with the thin jaws, especially if you do any kind of hydraulic work. But that's all I got for tonight. Give me a like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.